As Epictetus, a former slave and a Stoic teacher, said, "Some things are in our control and others not. Things in our control are opinion, pursuit, desire, aversion, and in a word, whatever are our own actions. Things not in our control are body, property, reputation, command, and, in one word, whatever are not our own actions." What would it be like if you applied this principle to your own life? How would you feel if you stopped worrying about the things that you cannot control and focused on the things that you can? How much time, energy, and peace of mind would you save? How much more productive, effective, and resilient would you become? Chapter 2. How to practice Stoicism. Stoicism is not just a set of beliefs, but a set of practices. The Stoics developed various exercises and techniques to help them apply their philosophy to their daily lives. Some of these practices are meditation. The Stoics used meditation as a way of reflecting on their thoughts, actions, and emotions, and examining them according to reason and nature. They also used meditation as a way of preparing for the day ahead and reviewing the day that passed. They asked themselves questions such as, "What did I do well? What did I do wrong? How can I improve? What challenges might I face? How can I overcome them?" Journaling. The Stoics used journaling as a way of recording their thoughts, observations, and experiences, and learning from them. They also used journaling as a way of expressing their gratitude and reminding themselves of their values and goals. They wrote down things such as, "What am I grateful for? What did I learn? What do I want to achieve? What do I need to work on?" Self-control. The Stoics used self-control as a way of mastering their impulses, desires, and emotions, and aligning them with reason and nature. They also used self-control as a way of practicing moderation, simplicity, and discipline. They avoided things such as excessive pleasure, luxury, and indulgence, anger, fear, and envy, complaining, blaming, and gossiping. Virtue. The Stoics used virtue as a way of measuring their actions and choosing the right thing to do in every situation. They also used virtue as a way of developing their character and becoming the best version of themselves. They followed 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. As Seneca, a Roman statesman and a Stoic writer, said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor." Nothing, to my way of thinking, is a better proof of a well-ordered mind than a man's ability to stop just where he is and pass some time in his own company. How do you practice Stoicism in your own life? What are some of the exercises and techniques that you use or want to use to improve yourself and your life? How do you reflect on your thoughts, actions, and emotions? How do you express your gratitude and remind yourself of your values and goals? How do you master your impulses, desires, and emotions? How do you measure your actions and choose the right thing to do? Chapter 3. How to cope with adversity. Stoicism is not only a philosophy for good times, but also for bad times. The Stoics faced many hardships and challenges in their lives, such as poverty, slavery, exile, torture, and death. They used their philosophy as a way of coping with adversity and turning it into an opportunity for growth and learning. One of the ways that the Stoics coped with adversity was by using the technique of negative visualization. This means that they imagined the worst possible scenarios that could happen to them and how they would deal with them. They did this not to frighten themselves, but to prepare themselves and to appreciate what they had. As Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher, said, "Begin each day by telling yourself, 'Today I shall be meeting with interference, ingratitude, insolence, disloyalty, ill will, and selfishness. All of them due to the offender's ignorance of what is good or evil. None of those things can injure me, for nobody can implicate me in what is degrading." Another way that the Stoics coped with adversity was by using the technique of reframing. This means that they changed their perspective on the situation and looked for the positive aspects, or the lessons, that they could learn from it. They did this not to deny the reality, but to accept it and to make the best of it. As Epictetus said, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." How do you cope with adversity in your own life? What are some of the worst possible scenarios that you can imagine, and how would you deal with them? How do you change your perspective on the situation and look for the positive aspects or the lessons that you can learn from it? Chapter 4. How to be happy. Stoicism is not only a philosophy for coping with adversity, but also for achieving happiness. The Stoics believe that happiness is not dependent on external things, such as wealth, fame, or pleasure, but on internal things, such as virtue, reason, and wisdom. They believe that happiness is not a state of mind, but a state of being that comes from living in accordance with nature and fulfilling our human potential. One of the ways that the Stoics achieved happiness was by using the technique of self-sufficiency. This means that they relied on themselves and their own resources, and did not depend on others or on external things for their happiness. They did this not to isolate themselves, but to free themselves and to be content with what they had. As Seneca said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future, not to amuse ourselves with either hopes or fears, but to rest satisfied with what we have, which is sufficient, for he that is so wants nothing." Letters from a Stoic, 16. Another way that the Stoics achieved happiness was by using the technique of detachment. This means that they detached themselves from the things that were not under their control and did not let them affect their happiness. They did this not to be indifferent, but to be realistic and to focus on the things that were under their control. As Epictetus said, "Remember that you are an actor in a drama of such a kind as the author pleases to make it. If he wants it to be short, it is short. If long, it is long. If he wants you to play a poor man, you must play the part with all your powers. And so if your part be that of a cripple, an emperor, or a simple citizen, for this is your business, to play well the part you are given, but choosing it belongs to another." Enchiridion 17. How do you achieve happiness in your own life? What are some of the things that you rely on, and some of the things that you detach from for your happiness? How do you live in accordance with nature and fulfill your human potential? Chapter 5. How to relate to others. Stoicism is not only a philosophy for oneself, but also for others. The Stoics believe that we are all part of a larger whole, a cosmic community, and that we have a duty to act for the common good and to treat others with respect, kindness, and justice. They also believe that we can learn from others and that we can help others by sharing our wisdom and by setting a good example. One of the ways that the Stoics related to others was by using the technique of cosmopolitanism. This means that they considered themselves as citizens of the world and not of any particular country, culture, or group. They did this not to reject their identity, but to embrace their humanity and to recognize the value and dignity of every person. As Cicero, a Roman orator and a Stoic follower, said, "There is nothing more agreeable to nature than to make the interests of all men the same as one's own, and to regard the whole human race as one's own family." On Duties 3.6. Another way that the Stoics related to others was by using the technique of empathy. This means that they tried to understand the feelings, thoughts, and motives of others, and to put themselves in their shoes. They did this not to justify their actions, but to explain them, and to avoid judging them harshly or taking them personally. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" Meditations 10:30. How do you relate to others in your own life? What are some of the ways that you act for the common good and treat others with respect, kindness, and justice? How do you consider yourself as a citizen of the world and recognize the value and dignity of every person? How do you try to understand the feelings, thoughts, and motives of others and to put yourself in their shoes? Chapter 6. How to live well. Stoicism is not only a philosophy for happiness but also for excellence. The Stoics believed that the goal of life is not to pursue pleasure or to avoid pain, but to live well and to do good. They also believed that the quality of life is not determined by external circumstances, but by internal choices and by the use of reason and of will. One of the ways that the Stoics lived well was by using the technique of eudaimonia. This is a Greek word that means human flourishing, or living according to one's true nature. It is often translated as happiness, but it is more than that. It is a state of being that comes from living virtuously, rationally, and harmoniously. As Epictetus said, "Don't seek to have events happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do happen, and all will be well with you." Enchiridion 8. Another way that the Stoics lived well was by using the technique of prohairesis. This is another Greek word that means moral choice or will. It is the faculty that allows us to choose how to act and how to react in every situation. It is the only thing that is truly ours, and that cannot be taken away from us. It is the source of our freedom and of our responsibility. As Epictetus said, "The essence of philosophy is that a man should so live that his happiness shall depend as little as possible on external things." Discourses 4.1. How do you live well in your own life? What are some of the ways that you live according to your true nature and do good? How do you use your reason and your will to choose how to act and how to react in every situation? How do you make your happiness depend as little as possible on external things? We have learned a lot from this video about Stoicism and how to apply it to our own lives. We have learned how to cope with adversity, how to achieve happiness, how to relate to others, and how to live well. We have learned from the wisdom and guidance of the ancient Stoics, such as Epictetus, Seneca, Cicero, and Marcus Aurelius, and how they faced the challenges and difficulties of their times. But learning is not enough. We need to practice. We need to put into action what we have learned, and to make it a habit. We need to challenge ourselves and to improve ourselves every day. We need to remember that nothing will change in 2024 except us. By practicing Stoicism, we can change ourselves and our lives for the better. We can become stronger, wiser, and happier. We can become more virtuous, more rational, and more harmonious. We can become the best version of ourselves and fulfill our human potential. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it and learned something from it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think about Stoicism and how you apply it to your own life. And remember, nothing will change in 2024 except you.